Hi Tony, what's up with you, my friend? I haven't seen you in a couple of days. How was your weekend? There's lots of music outside, so my stuff is muted. They're like, oh yeah, you know? They got all the music going on. I think it's the Indian neighbors. They got the karaoke going on.
Maybe you should join them.
Thinking of getting back into Yu-Gi-Oh for the 50th time. Bro, you've said that like, yeah, for real, 50th time. Fresh cut, thank you very much. I had to get it, bro. It was getting a bit ridiculous and in my face. I don't mind it being long, it's just in my face. I don't, cause of my IRL friends, it's like I go locals. They're like telling you to join them. Well, if it's the same situation with me actually. They want me to join, but it's just a bit out of the way, and I'm just not keen as much. But you should if you have homies. I don't know. Don't know what to play. Just play whatever, man. At this point, like, locals is just locals. Like, just match their power level and just go play. I don't know about you and your locals and how up they are, but at this point, I just bring whatever I have and I just go there to chat. You know, just have fun. There is a deck that the homies are building for me for some reason. I mean, no, not for some reason. I did say I liked it. Remember the MST deck? They're all apparently collecting it so that they can eventually, when I come back and return, they'll hand me the deck. Well, one of my friends is collecting it just to hand it to me, which is very nice. I didn't ask for it, but they're too nice, you know? I just said I like this deck, it looks cool. I mentioned it, I can play with Runic. It kind of just works. I'm like, yeah. You aren't ever going back? No, I will go back. But it's just not at the moment. Not yet, you know? You know? Not right now. I'll try and make it, but I don't know. Runic is apparently good in Genesis. Yeah, I heard that as well. I'm just not playing it, eh? Yeah, anyways. Bro, this weekend I've been like working on just, I finished that snake thing, right? And I wrote about it, right? Whatever. We done that, we moved on. Then I was thinking of other, I had a list of things that I wanted to do. I've got one now. This one, I thought it was going to be light in terms of work. It is light in terms of work. But it's introducing a lot of things that I haven't thought about and shit. So that's the long part. It's like I'm reading a bunch of stuff that I haven't really touched upon yet about the computers and all that stuff. Anyways, it's to do with this actually. It's to do with this, with these emulators, and between the emulator and the 3DS. Did I mention that you can? So as I said, remember I said like, I can actually pick up the save file and drop it into somewhere else. And continue playing for my 3DS and my emulator. So there's a process that happens, like a conversion or something, between this .save file, this SPSS file, and the save file used in the emulator, right? And there's like a whole thing regarding it, and it's an actual file. Yeah, it's an actual file. I drag and drop it back and forth. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna automate this. You know, I'm gonna automate this. There's a bit of file input/output operations and things like that. I could probably do this. You know what I mean? Like I can make it so that it's a quicker process than what I'm doing right now. So something happens like when I connect my 3DS and something triggers and it auto saves and auto transfer saves depending on like time updated and things like that. Anyways, listen to me. So the idea is It's close to that, Tony. It's not. It's not entirely far removed from a cloud solution. It's more like a syncing solution. So like if okay, here's the idea. So basically, I have to do this whole import process, right? I either have to remove the save file from 3DS to my computer, or I have to move it from my computer to my 3DS. Moving it from the computer to the 3DS is actually very easy. It's just a matter of renaming the file to a .save file, and then my 3DS handles the conversion when I boot up the game, okay? I'm happy with that. There's nothing I need to do. I don't even need to touch the file. But going from the 3DS to the emulation save file, there's a bit more steps. I was reading up the documentation of the emulator that I'm using right now, and they have actually an entire database of it's a little bit complicated, to be honest, even for me, but there's like a whole database of like 6,000 plus games. I think 6,003 or 6,300 something plus games. I'm pretty sure it's every single game, or most games I should say, in that database, and all they have is like 3 values. One of them is, and the 3 values are, I believe, in they're in hexadecimal, right? They're a long string of hexadecimal, but that represents some sort of binary value. And so there's 3 hexadecimal entities for each game, and one denotes the code of the game. So like there's a code, you know, like SPC2, and that might be in Pokémon whatever game. And then there's a unique one for everything. And then there's a bunch of save memory type and save memory size. Okay, that's what it is. Those are the 3 entities you have to worry about, I think. Believe so. Save memory type. I'm not sure. Yeah. And basically, I find out like, oh, there's actually a conversion happening between the 3DS save file to the emulation save file, because there's a weird compression happening. Because I see the file sizes are changing, but they're the same .save extension. So I'm like scratching my head like, oh, so I can't just drag and drop it, and like it works straight away, and it's just the same name or something. No, apparently there's like there's a step in between, and so I was reading and trying to understand it. It's a bit of a mess, but anyways, the idea is that there's like a weird like thing you have to do where you pull the first certain amount of bytes depending on which one of the game codes matching in the database. So like if it has like a certain amount of size, you only get that data from the big pool of data of the save file from the 3DS, and then you paste that, or you put that in put those bytes only into the new file .save file, and then that should work with the emulator right off the. Oh, that's the plan, right? So the idea is that as soon as like my 3DS connects to my computer, it's a wireless connection, right? A file transfer protocol. As soon as that happens, I'm gonna make a daemon, or I hope to understand what a daemon is. Daemon is like an operation that is happening, or a script that is a very light script that is happening in your background of your computer, and then it does something. So, but it's behind. You can't. There's no indication that it's on. It's just kind of there. So what I want to do is when my 3DS connects, the daemon script will trigger to activate an executable file which is made in which I compiled in C. So it runs a program basically, and it'll open the terminal and it will ask me, all right, what do you want to do? Do you want to transfer save files from your DS to your to a particular location, or do you want to transfer the particular location files to the DS? And then I just pick an option basically, and then it will execute either the DS to emulation, which will have some form of conversion that needs to be done, which means I need to pull a certain amount of bytes from the first 128. It depends on the game, right? And I have to look up that game code in the database, look up that information, paste it into that, and then I put it into that, and I update basically the save file in the emulator. And then let's say I play on the emulator and I'm ready to I've done. I could also reconnect to my FTP again, and then it'll ask me the same prompt. All right, do you want to update back? Which way do you want to update?
this way or that way, and then it will pull and push it from the other way. So it's like a syncing tool, I guess. We can even, if I'm feeling risky and I understand how it works, I could even check the dates on the dates that the file was updated or modified or whatever, or created perhaps, depending on what it does. Then I could just connect and it automatically picks the one that needs to be updated, because one will be older than the other obviously, so it'll automatically sync my save files from my 3DS to, it's just, I guess I'm just lazy and I don't want to manually do this thing where I have to import the save files over and over again. So I'm learning a bunch of shit, and today I was like really mad for a bit. Like I was like, for like a couple of, maybe like 2 hours, I was stuck. Because I'm up to the part where I studied what I understood. I basically had to understand what the open source project was with the big database, right? Like, why are they doing this? How are they converting? What's going on? What are they doing for the conversions? Oh, it looks like they're pulling a certain amount of bytes based on some information in some little database that they have, like it's in a header file or whatever. And then I was like, okay, I understand this process, but like now I need to figure out how to read, or how do I've got this database now. Now how do I find the code? Number one. So I had to find the code online. I could have probably done it myself and found it via the NDS file. So you know how we have .nds files. These are .Nintendo DS files. They have like obviously a bunch of memory, hexadecimal values, addresses in there that store information, and so every single, I think it's pretty. From what I read, every single NDS file, it's a standard that they have at a particular address. All of the games at the same address have a game code in hexadecimal. Like it's like a hex or binary value that represents an ASCII representation of that hex or binary value, and that ASCII representation of that value is the game code, and I can use that game code to match in my database. So that was one of the steps that I had to do, and I was doing it today. And brother, I discovered something through figuring. I was searching up why, because I couldn't match it. I was really confused what was going on, because I found nothing. I didn't find I was wondering, because I tested with different game codes that I had extracted from the binary from the NDS file, the Nintendo DS file with a particular address. I found that address. I know it is that address because when I print out that address, it appears on my prints. When I print it to the terminal, it appears with the game code, and I searched the game code, and it's matching that game. I was like, okay, cool. I found it. So now I just need to find that I need to match that binary or the hexadecimal string to the database hexadecimal, and then I'm realizing that it's not appearing. And so I'm still reading about it. I just started stream before as I kind of just figured it out, and I read this thing about Indians. It's not Indians. It's Endians. ENDIANS, and it's something to do where you represent how the hexadecimal value is stored inside of the particular architecture of the computer. So in this case, I'm still reading on it, so I'm not too perfect on it. But the idea is that we're taking the most significant binary value. So there's two different types basically. There's big endianness and then there's little endianness, and basically the binary string is represented in partitions, and they're basically saved the same way or reversed. Just imagine that. So you're starting with the right hand side, or you're starting at the left hand side to construct the hexadecimal string, and or how it's stored. And the database was storing it in reverse. And so I was searching it in reverse to the database, and it would not appear. So let's say, for example, the leftmost value of the hexadecimal value. I'm not doing a good job explaining, but basically the leftmost value is like 43, for example. But actually that 43 should be the last value, and I should go backwards. And so I had to learn about. I didn't learn about it fully. I just kind of like figured out, okay, let me try and reverse this and see if that works. Like if I construct it backwards, does it work? And it does work backwards. It was in the database. And it happened, and I was like, oh my god, yes, it works. But I need to, I've put a note down for myself to understand what this is exactly, so that I understand it for sure. And this is this would take me to, it looks like it's taking me into other computer architecture stuff that I haven't really covered yet, because I kind of touched the basic stuff. But it's moving in that direction where a lot of my work is now getting, or a lot of the practical things that I'm doing now are getting me to explore those things naturally rather than, you know, like passively. Anyways, confusing shit. But basically, I was able to match the game code from the NDS to the actual database that I have, that I've copied and pasted in my header file from the resources that I have. And the reason why I need to match it to the database is that's what lets me know what is the size or the save file size that I need to rip from the 3DS save file. So it will check the game code. The game code then gets checked against the database. The database will then check for the save file size, and then it will be like, all right, cool, go yoink that many bytes from the first half of the file of the .save file, and then save it and update the .save file for the emulator so that it will read it correctly or whatever. And the idea is to make it seamless so that I just load up the game and it will automatically pick up that file. I won't need to import it like I do here. I have to keep importing it. It doesn't take a while, trust me. It doesn't take me a while to import stuff and do this, but I just thought, like, I feel like this should be done a little bit better, you know what I mean? But yeah. Damn, that size matters that much. Yeah, I mean it does. I mean, the idea was like I don't want to rely on anything clunky. I want to make sure that I verify those sizes, and if I have a database of it that I can rely on, that is integrated into the tool, rather than me. The initial idea was to have already a save file created for the game, so do the import thing once myself manually, and then all I would ever need to do is check the emulation.save file size with length. There's a length function that you can do, that you can get the size of that file, and I can check again, and then I can just check that and then just transfer it like that. It's possible I could do that, but I don't want it to be like that. I want it to be like a little bit more smooth, where I don't need to do much actually. I just need to connect via FTP. Alright, do you have the save file in there? No? Okay, then we're going to yoink it, and then we're going to check the database, and then we're going to see the size of the file that we need to use, and then we'll create that file for you. Otherwise, we can check that file in there if it already exists, check the length of it. Alright, cool, that's that file size. Alright, go yoink it, push back, done. Like, we've got two kind of truths that we can follow if we have something already, or if we don't have anything, then we can look at the database. So that's the idea. I want to try and finish this project in like a week. There is stuff I don't know about the project though, so I'll probably get to the end and have a lot of gaps in my knowledge because I just have never touched this stuff. So I'm looking at a bunch of stuff, reading stuff online, watching some videos on the topics, but that's as I go. And then once I finish the project, I've got a list of things that I need to like kind of read up on because I don't know it, right? So I've put that down as a list, and then once I finish the project, I'm happy with the project, then I'll go about it to make sure I understand it and maybe do a little bit of pet programs to figure it out. But that's it. That's it. That's like, I wasn't planning on doing a project like this, to be honest. I was planning on moving on to learn SDL, but I was like, no, let me do some of these smaller projects that seem small, but actually are introducing a lot of interesting things that will come into play later. It's very fun when you like break it down. I like writing about it, honestly. Like, I like writing on paper the plan. So like here I have like NDS file conversion automation, and then I list down all of the things I might need to look at. And I wrote down, oh, maybe should I look at daemon scripts or daemon programs. should I call a console? Should I make a UI? I kind of cross a bunch of things down and put like a little scope, and then I put a flow of how it should work, like a menu system. I enjoy it so far. Making something for convenience is the purpose. Yeah, I know. You spend like a week doing it and then you just use it all the time. It's really satisfying, to be honest, once it works. So I want to get this one working. I hope it works. I'll figure it out. I will figure it out. It will work. To be honest, it's a lot of it seems small. Like I can build all of the, I can confidently build. I'll tell you what I can confidently do. I can confidently structure or design the flow of the program. So I can build something like a quick menu system that has like the 3 options that we care about. The 3 options that I've listed down here that I need for sure is Nintendo DS to emulator, emulator to Nintendo DS, then update paths. So that's like one that allows me to edit a configuration file. So like maybe a text file that has the paths to particular locations, either on my computer or in the FTP of my 3DS. So that we'll take those paths as like what we want to use. Then we have an exit button as well. And then I've written that after that, let's say you select NDS to emulator, it'll run the chosen operation. So that might include a conversion or not. Sometimes I don't need a conversion. It might just be like a renaming of a file. So that's really good. And then it automatically exits, because I don't want this to be something that is just how do you say it? Like it should just happen. Like okay, oh the pop-up appeared. All right, press 1 to do the NDS to emulator. Enter. Brrr, done. That's how it should be. And then I shouldn't need to worry about it, because then I'll be like, oh, okay, it's updated, now I can go play my games. That's how it should be. But for some of them, for example, like the changing of the paths, it's going to need to go back to that menu again so that I can select whether or not I want to run the program or exit. So here, for example, if I update the NDS save file path or whatever, then I would want to update the paths of the file, and then it would take me back to the menu and ask me if I want to run it or not. Like there's a bunch of stuff that I was thinking. So this part I'm fairly confident in. But the part where it's like converting and stuff, that's the hard part. Like I had to read the binary files, which I didn't really have enough experience on, to be honest. Like haven't used C and reading like binary files or like .save files or whatever, and have to figure out where things are, and that happened to be a lot of work to find it. I had to research online. People have done this before. I had to look at open source projects like the emulator that I'm looking at right now, because I'm trying to emulate what they do with their importing of the save. There's literally a function in here called import save. I'm trying to emulate that, but do that in my C program and do it automatically to do things, if that makes sense. So I'm happy about it. It's nice. Like when I start, like I want to go and do that actually now. I'm gonna do that now. It's already 9:30 though. It's gonna be a problem. But I want to do some of that now before I go to bed, because I'm so keen on doing it. And I'm gonna try and aim for Friday to finish it. I'm giving myself should be enough time to at least get a large amount of the project done. For the most part, you know. Fuck, it's so hot, man. We just shut the window for a bit. And it's so hot. I want to open it again. Sure?
Yeah, if you want. Just go light as well.
Oh yeah, because the bugs, eh? It's like so hot. Oh, I can automate this and do it? Yeah, but it's not as straightforward as you think. It's really not like, oh, and do it. It's more like, alright, I need to find out what to do and then do it. You know what I mean? Like, there's a lot of reading and like random people's stuff that you have to look at. Like, people have done this stuff before. It's not like I'm trying to figure out something new. So like, this is like, yeah, it's just something I wanted. This just curious. You know, I'm curious and I want to try it myself. There's another one after this that I think is gonna be fucking good and fun. I think it's gonna be a fun one. I'm gonna do like some of these, few of these little smaller projects rather than this big ones. Before the big ones, I've got 2 projects that I want to try and do, and all in C. See, I want to do the all in C programming, right? For now, and it's this one. So it's this one. I want to finish this one. The next one is related to this game directly. I've seen online people have created Wonder Mail generators. So these are like these things where you can create codes for this game. And I want to understand how they create those little wonder codes, and what, you know, how they pack in data inside of there, and then figure out how I can make my own little wonder mail generator. Basically, I can choose and pick what the scenarios are of these wonder mails, because the wonder mails are like little, they're like the little board events. Like you can choose the reward, you can choose the Pokemon that requested. You can see what happens at the end. Like, these are all different pieces of data that you can add to the Wonder Mail, and that will be really helpful, instrumental even in collecting all the Pokemon in this game. Like, if I wanted to collect all the Pokemon, I could do that, right? I could do that. Sorry about the background, there's a lot of noise. I could do that by making my own little Wonder Mail generator and then picking and choosing the rewards I get and stuff like that. I think that's cool, and I think that's like fine. Like, you know what I mean? As a way to like interact with this game, I think it's fine because I put in the effort to make this little generator. I should deserve the reap the rewards that I get from it. You know what I mean? And it's not like I don't. I still have to go through those Wonder Mail missions. They're not just like, oh, retrieve and get for free. You know what I mean? I have to still do it. It'd be fun. Honestly, I think it'd be fun. To be honest. That's just me, though. But yes, people have made Wonder Mail stuff. So yeah, I think it's cool. I think that stuff is cool. And listen, if my little tool is actually really useful, this FTP transfer thing, I don't know how I'm gonna do it, but I could try and package it up in a way that's like really seamless with the emulator, the open source emulator, and I might even make a pull request and like I might do the code and then see if it's something that they want, and then I could just pass it to them, and then it'll be like a true thing that happens, that could happen if the user allows it. So they might have a toggle that turns it on, and you have an option to just enter the paths that you need to enter inside of the emulator itself, and then it will automatically have a daemon that runs in the background if they want it to be. Obviously, that requires user permissions and figuring out that shit, but I don't know if that's something that people would be against necessarily if it's just related to like this stuff. I mean, it's just a fun thing to just see if I can get it through and if it works, but I don't know if it will. I'm not that professional, I'm not that hardcore, to be honest, in the language. How active it's pretty. Let me have a look at and see what. Last time I checked, it was. I mean, I've been getting updates for the emulator, if that's a good sign. Let's see. I don't know if it's as active as the PCSX2 one, but I'd say they're fairly active. It says here 2 days ago was the last commit. So last week, 2 days ago, yeah. I mean, people are updating it. 3 days ago, yeah. No, it's an active project. This is not a dead one. So it's really good. I'm pretty happy about it. It's made in C++, C assembly language, Objective-C for, I assume, Apple. Yeah, those are the three. It's mostly C, C++. So it'll be something that I'm moving towards. So that's good. And I was reading through the document, like not the documentation, but I was reading through the code base to try and understand how they. I had to track down where import save is and how they handle this stuff, and then I figured it out, and I was like, I felt pretty good about that. That gave me an hour, basically, an hour and two, to do that. Is there a good reason why everyone uses C? I think C is just like a legacy language that a lot of systems rely on. I think everything is kind of, there's some connection to C. Like Python is built in C. People are trying to move, there's a lot of movements that want to move away from C for sure, like Rust. Rust is an example of a programming language that is trying to be the next C, I guess. And I think that's a good language as well to learn if you have the time to learn it. Sorry, there's so much fucking noise outside. I don't know what the fuck these people are doing. Anyways, I'm gonna... Yeah, the reason is because there's a lot of shit built on top of C. C and C++. They're just good languages to learn if you want to build, I guess, anything and everything. And C and C++, I'd say C family languages are just really close to the metal without being cumbersome. So like you have a lot of control. If you can get it really understanding, like if you can understand it really well, you can build a lot of, from my understanding is that you can build literally anything if you can put your mind to it. Obviously C and C in general, it can be like quite a verbose language. Like it takes you some time to build the things you want to build because you are basically building with bricks rather than little blocks of houses. But yeah. Anyways, that's my little spiel. What? I'm gonna head out, Tony. I'm gonna actually continue that project because I'm a little bit hyped for it. All right. I'll see you around. Have a good one. I'll see you tomorrow as well. Okay. Bye bye. If you come by, I don't know. See ya.